In 2007, I interviewed a former Air Force, I believe he was retired Air Force missile launch officer named Captain David Schur. The last name is spelled Schur. And I tape record my interviews with the veterans. And so what appears in my book is the verbatim testimony that he gave me during this interview. What he said was, he was at a place called Echo Flight. It was a group of 10 Minuteman nuclear missiles designated Echo. He was in the underground launch capsule when suddenly he got a call from his security guard, one of them at ground level, saying that this fully luminous disc-shaped object was maneuvering above one of the missile sites. And no sooner had he gotten that message down on his launch console in the capsule, that missile's light lit up, what's called launch in progress light. And to all intents and purposes, it appeared that missile was launching. Captain Schur flipped what's called an inhibit switch and stopped that progression to countdown. No sooner had he done that, however, he said that the guard was apprising him of ongoing events at ground level, and various guards out in the field among his flight of 10 missiles were reporting the object moving from missile to missile. And so he couldn't remember the exact designations of the missiles, but let's say E6, Echo 6, when the guard said it's now above Echo 6, suddenly on his console, Echo 6 went into launch in progress mode. And that apparently went on. He thinks that 7 or 8 of his missiles were impacted in that manner. And then finally, everything returned to normal. Now, there's something called the primary alert system, which is a communication system among all the capsules at Minot, 15 capsules at that time, controlling 150 missiles. And he was hearing, as all of this was going on, that this object, this luminous aerial object, had proceeded to virtually every flight, these 15 flights, and he could not recall in 2007 when he gave the interview whether other people had launch in progress indicators, but he knows that their guards were reporting the missile, or the UFO rather, in the vicinity of their missiles too. I do know Captain Schur told me what he was involved in occurred at night. There's another former launch officer who was at Minot during the same time frame. His name's Larry Manross, former captain, and he has confirmed that the same thing happened in his capsule. But because neither Schur nor Manross could remember the exact dates, we couldn't really correlate whether that was the same event or two different events. The last case that I investigated occurred in October 2010. At F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Wyoming. There was a large-scale incident where 5 of these missile alert facilities, they're now called, the Air Force changed their name. They're no longer launch control facilities. They're now missile alert facilities. Anyway, in October 23rd of 2010, the Atlantic website had a dramatic story based on leaked information that 5 of these MAF's missile alert facilities suddenly cannot communicate with F.E. Warren Air Force Base, meaning that if, God forbid, there had been an order to launch their missiles at that time, they could not have gotten their order through normal channels. It was subsequently learned that there was a backup airborne system that would have allowed them to launch their missiles if ordered to do so. But it was a major incident and a snafu. And as soon as I heard about that, I went, this probably is UFO related. And I spoke with an individual, I'm not going to identify him, who had contacts at F.E. Warren Air Force Base. And on my behalf, he approached these persons, and they were actually, these 2 missile maintenance technicians were out in the field addressing this communication issue. And both of them reported seeing what was described as a huge cigar-shaped object flying in the sky above the missile field when these technical issues were cropping up.